According to the State of America's Children 2017 report, in the state of Georgia, 57% to 85% of students grade 4 are unable to read at grade level. According to recent reports, reading scores in early education have not improved since 1998, and only 1/3 of students are able to perform at the level at which they are supposed to perform. It is believed that these low scores are due in part because reading assessment tests focus on comprehension rather than one's ability to read. What this means is that when a formal assessment is given to a student, it might be a passage about information that they're not specifically knowledgeable about. Things such as the disappearance of Amelia Earhart or life in the Arctic. And then the student is asked a question such as, what's the main idea of the passage? Since these students have very little background knowledge of the subject, it is difficult for them to adequately process the information presented and formulate an acceptable answer. Research shows that success in early education is vital to success in education in later years. Studies also show that poverty, stress, and hunger all harm children's cognitive development. The struggles that come with poverty are hindering children's ability to progress in schools. Recent studies conducted by the Annie E. Casey Foundation showed that only 1/5 of fourth graders living in low-income neighborhoods were able to read at a proficient level. This is 30% lower than the number of high-income children who are able to read at a proficient level. What's most concerning about this information is that nearly every class in every subject after third grade requires a textbook and critical reading skills. Considering that poverty is one of the leading causes of the reading gap, it is essential that educators and education centers are able to give families concrete support in times of need. In addition, it is essential that parents and families are involved in this support. The first steps to advocating for better literacy programs in schools are to review the school's current practices on reading proficiency. Questions that need to be asked are, what are the screening practices for literacy that the school uses, and when do they use them? How does the school identify children with reading difficulties? Is evidence-based literacy instruction and intervention used? What information is being collected by the school in regard to these literacy programs? How is that information used? And what types of support are used to make decisions about the children's literacy needs? Once it has been established what the current practice in regards to literacy proficiency is, improvements and adjustments can be made. In order to raise reading proficiency rates, a committee made up of the education program staff, teachers, students, and the students' families will create a committee to evaluate the current policies. This committee will use current assessments to evaluate the current reading proficiency of the students and to go over the goals for reading proficiency. That's what level the students should be at for each level of the school. The committee will then create a process for gathering, reviewing, and analyzing the students' progress and a method to share this progress between staff and families. This could be a parents' portal that gives parents access to students' assignments and their assessments. The committee will work together to create a template for the collection and review of assessments that are gathered. And finally, the committee will focus on higher levels of student achievement. This progress will be measured by assessments. Staff and families will work together to ensure successful student transitions between grade levels and ensure that proficiency continues to increase in the future. The committee needs to be sure to include intervention strategies for struggling students, such as additional tutoring time or classes that are designated to focus specifically on literacy development and have skilled instruction in literacy development. This may require additional parent and teacher training workshops that teach the parents, families, and teachers how to have a better focus on literacy and how to implement that focus in their teaching. In addition, the program director and the staff needs to be prepared to reevaluate current policies and make changes if necessary. Overall, the plan needs to involve parents and staff collectively and allow parents to give feedback and ideas about ways that improvements should be made. Parents and families are involved in creating the new method for assessment and implementing programs that will help struggling students. These are programs such as tutoring or extra classes or specific classes that replace current programs that are more literary focused. Most importantly, this program gets parents involved in their students' education. Student support is the key to improving literacy. Giving students the tools they need in school as well as at home is the first step to increasing literacy proficiency and is essential to increasing reading proficiency.